Welcome to Season 2 of the SOAR podcast, the place for creative entrepreneurs who want to build healthier, happier, more profitable self-employed businesses. I'm your host, Rayhive Cornell, business mentor at Carden Consulting and CEO and senior copywriter at Cornell Content Marketing. Get ready to soar. Welcome to the SOAR podcast. On our episode today, we have Anne Carden. And tell our listeners what it is you do and what your business is.
Thank you so much, Ray, for having me, first of all. I am a coach for coaches and consultants and really professional entrepreneurs who are really looking to build a high-end business. So I help them get ultra premium clients, multiple 5- and 6-figure clients, and really build their business with simplicity so that they can work less and make a lot more.
Just hearing you talk about that, I can tell my own imposter syndrome and fear flags are going off, because I think one thing that a lot of people, especially if someone is experienced but wants to move into consulting, or maybe they want to leave corporate America and get into being a consultant and a freelancer or a contractor, we often go, yikes, I'm just one little person. I'm just one cog in this whole great big machine. Why would a multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar company hire me? How do you help people get through that initial contraction?
That's such a great question. And really what it boils down to is understanding the value you bring to the market. And notice I didn't say the value, your value. I don't say that because it's not about you. Mm-hmm. When people are buying services, it's about what you can do for them. And so when I walk people through the process, so I work with people that are experienced, knowledge, skills, expertise. They've maybe been in a job for many, many years, and they're so good at what they do. They could do it with their hands tied behind their backs, or their eyes closed, so to speak. And so helping them understand how to package, market, sell that to the market in a way that they can get paid what they deserve for all of those years of experience and everything that they've done. I call it career collateral. So that's if they're coming from, say, a career and they want to step into consulting. People, you don't have to start out at beginner fees when you're already an expert. And so I really help people understand the value, how to put that together and then bring that to market. And I've helped startups with $200,000 offers right out of the gate. So it's also one of the ways I push back in the industry, because I see so many amazing people, doctors and people with PhDs and all of these excellent people going down the wrong path when they decide to get into the coaching and consulting space. And they fall into a lot of the low value pitfalls and traps and kind of rabbit holes, and they're not getting paid what they deserve. So I understand what you're saying, that imposter syndrome and all of that, but really they just need someone to walk them through the process and show them what they really do have.
And I feel like a big hang up there is the word expert. We can look out at our friends, our family members, our colleagues and go, oh yeah, that person is an expert in XYZ. But then we look at ourselves, and I mean, even I do this. I've been in digital marketing for 16 years, and I often don't think of myself as a digital marketing expert. I kind of have to go, oh wait, I have to put my objective hat on. Wait, yes, I am, but it's when I start to, my husband asks me questions all the time because he recently joined my business. What month is this? This is April 2023. So about 6 months ago, he joined me in my business full time, and he'll ask me questions about SEO and how it works and all that. And we're making dinner, and 20 minutes later, I'm still giving a lecture on SEO. And then I realize, oh, I actually do know a lot about this. We don't really realize just how much we know about a certain topic until we're in our element and really giving voice to it. So how does someone know when they're just sitting here listening to this episode? How do they know if they're an expert or not?
it goes back to what I said earlier. If you can do it with your hands tied behind your back or your eyes closed, it's so natural for you.
Mm-hmm.
That really does show expertise. And if you can see, and I know, Ray, you're around in the online world, we can see the people that are don't have any clue,
Mm,
but they decide to do something
yes.
versus people that have been in the trenches, have done it. It's kind of like I talk all the time. There's a lot of people that want to be business coaches, but they've never owned a business. Okay, I'm sorry. That doesn't make sense to me,
Yes.
because go and build a business first and then become a business coach. And so those are some of the things that we see. But I just think, to your point, most people have expertise, and if they just really think about what can they do so well that they just don't even have to think about it, that can really be your expertise that you can build a business around.
Well, and then the next layer of that is some of the things that we do as professionals, we just do. We just have the
Right.
skills. We just know implicitly what to do. But when you're a coach or a consultant, you then have to figure out, how do I communicate that? How do I teach others or pass that information along? How does someone go about getting the almost automatic autopilot skill set out of their heads and into a modality that clients can purchase?
I'll be really honest, Ray. It's very difficult to do if you don't have someone who knows how to pull it from you and package and market and sell it. Because I built 5 businesses previously and sold them. And so I came with 30 plus years business experience. I was in corporate for 13 years in business management. And when I came into the coaching and consulting space, I really struggled, and I spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars going down the wrong paths because no one looked at me. No one looked at my experience, my expertise, what I could help people do. And everything that I fell into was so cookie cutter. In fact, it's why I wrote my book, Expert in You, because it was really a pushback to the industry. And no, because no one could look at me, I struggled with, I can do everything, even though I know if you're for everybody, you're for nobody, right? So it wasn't about niching, but it was like, I can help people build businesses. I don't want to sell them a 60-day program to just help them package their services. Like, I can help them build their business.
Yeah.
And I really struggled with that. And I even had a coach, I even hired a coach at one time that told me, Anne, you'll never get a coach or a consultant to pay you for a 12-month program. They're just not going to do it. Now, I was already working in the small business space many years before I started working with coaches and consultants. That's a whole nother story,
Hmm.
how I fell into this space. But I was already doing that with small business owners. And so to hear that, I was like, what? I mean, they're building businesses too. This doesn't make any sense
Yeah.
to me. And I was so frustrated with the industry, I almost took a step back. And the thing is, I could not find someone that could do that for me. It took me years to figure it out
Mm.
because I could not find that person. So I would love to say it's that easy. It is really not. It's not, because you need someone who's out there, who sees things, who knows what the market will buy, who knows what it will show you all the pieces to be able to really package your genius and the things that you're so good at. And then, but also get paid premium fees, get paid what you deserve to get paid, all of that. So I wish I could say you could do it on your own, but the truth is, it's hard for people. They typically will really undervalue what they
Yeah.
do because they just don't know. It's hard to see for yourself. That was a
Absolutely.
long-winded answer, but
Well, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I think we've all been there where, just like my example with talking to my husband in the kitchen, where I wouldn't even claim to be an expert in SEO because I know there's so much that I don't know about it. But at the same time, there's a lot that I do know about it. So maybe I am an
exactly.
expert. And we don't really know all of the things that we do know and are of value to others because we often think that, oh, well, everyone knows that, or oh, it comes so
Right. We're so
naturally or
used
easily
to
to
it.
me.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you touched on a lot of, I think this is really important to talk about. I don't want to dwell in the negativity for too long, but you touched on a lot of pieces of the coaching world that I think scare people off from being a coach or make them think, oh, that's icky. I don't want to do that. And it's because we see so many examples of these coaches who just pop up out of nowhere. They've done something once, like, oh, I wrote a book, I put it on the market, it made millions of dollars. Now I can teach you how to do it. That's kind of this model. I've done it once, so now I can teach you how to do it. But really, what that means is they did it once and they figured out a system that worked for them. That doesn't necessarily mean that they know how to coach people on how to do that process in a unique way that's going to work for all of their clients. And so we have this kind of juxtaposition between those like Instagram, super shiny, and look at me,
Right.
isn't this the perfect life kind of coaches and consultants. And then we have what you described, which is what I really want people to understand, which is that working with you, someone who knows what is actually going to sell in the market, what is actually going to be well received, what are the gaps that you can fill that no other business or coach or consultant can provide, and what's your unique spin on that to connect with your ideal audience. How do you help people overcome this kind of fake facade of the Instagram celebrity coaches and what coaching and consulting actually looks like in a successful practice?
Yeah. So I mean, I do help them elevate their brand. I help them stand out as an expert. I help them get seen. All of those things are pieces of what I do with people for the marketing side of things. But at the end of the day, it's about the reality of building a business. And so I can't change someone who doesn't have a desire to really build a business, be around for a long time, make a great impact, make great money. I mean, those are my people. And so it's for me, it's not about really changing someone's mind. It's about to expose them to what the reality is and letting them realize, okay, there's more to this. And first of all, I just want to say, to me, anyone that's selling a cookie cutter program is it's going to be very surface level in most cases. You're not going to get real hands-on, deep, in the weeds kind of help.
Yeah.
And so that's the very first thing to look at when you are thinking about buying into something or working with someone, because you have to fit the mold of what they are trying to sell you. And I'll give you an example of this. I hope I didn't get off track a little bit
No,
here,
you're
but
good. This is great.
okay. Okay. So I bought into a lot of programs, a lot of different things. I can't even tell you. And they were all missing pieces. But there's one that really stands out in my mind that I bought into. And it was an 8-week program. It was a hefty amount of money. It was a big amount of money, actually. And I didn't get the people that actually started the program coaching me.
Mm.
Okay. So that was the first thing. When I got into it, I didn't realize that. The second thing is, I didn't really realize that the only way they could help me build my business was on Facebook. Well, at that time, I was working with small business owners, and I was working in like the contractor space and with bigger companies that were multiple $1 million companies. And I was having trouble reaching them
Yeah,
online.
they don't
And
spend time on Facebook.
yes. And so they have pages on Facebook, right? But they're not on there. The owner's not on there. Well,
Right.
they convinced me, excuse me, they convinced me that yes, we can absolutely help you build this on Facebook and all of that. So after investing in that program, and I'll tell you a couple of other things too, but I invested in that, and only to find out that the startups were on
Yeah.
Facebook, but I couldn't reach the people that I really wanted to reach. So that was problem number one, because nobody again really knew, but they sold it to me anyway. And I thought they knew something I didn't know, even though I understood marketing. I was fairly new to the online world. And so I just thought they knew something that I didn't know. Well, come to find out they didn't. My instincts were right. I couldn't find them. But then there was something else as well. So they had a huge Facebook group. You know, there were, I don't even know how many people were going through their program, and it was very cookie cutter. You had to send in your question if you wanted to ask a question on the calls, that kind of program. And I remember they were teaching how to do strategy sessions. And I had already been doing strategy sessions, but I was getting paid to do them because I wanted people that were serious about building their business. And their whole concept was do them free. And so I remember posting in the Facebook group. Now, this was probably 3 days in, and I posted in the Facebook group, okay, so I've been charging like $400 for my strategy sessions. And now this is telling me to do it free. And this was the comment I got back from one of the people that started this company. He said, well, I don't know, Anne, if you're not making millions of dollars, you should probably just follow our program. Oh, millions of dollars a month. That's what he said. If you're not making millions of dollars a month, you should probably just follow our program. And this was in the Facebook group in front of everyone. And I felt so disrespected. I thought,
that's
first
very
of all,
disrespectful.
I just couldn't believe it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have 40 years of experience here in business, and I'm not stupid. And I just didn't feel like I deserved that, because that was just a question. But that's what I have seen over and over and over again. And I get value from everything, and I never look at an investment as a bad investment ever, because I always get something from it, how not to be,
yes,
or what not to do, or, but that is, I just, horror story after horror story is what I hear from people, and also what I've experienced for myself. And I just said, I'm either going to change things in this industry and do things differently, or I'm getting out, because I just wasn't loving it.
Well, and I think that's something that's really important for people to hear, especially if you have had bad experiences with coaches, mentors, consultants, whatever the case may be. You can break the mold. I mean, and you are breaking the mold. You are looking at, and I love this because this is really my philosophy on the Cornell side with marketing. There's so many things I hate about the marketing world. And so at Cornell, we don't do those things. We do the opposite in the way people want to be talked to. And that's what you're doing as well. And you're telling people, and you're a living example of, yes, there are all these problems that are just insidious in the coaching and consulting industry, but you don't have to be that way. You can actually do something very different, be in integrity, and at the same time, you're going to give people so much more of a positive client experience because you've had those negative experiences and you know what not to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's important too, when people are thinking about investing in a program or in some kind of a service, it's important to ask, who will be coaching me? Because if it is not the person that built the multiple $million business, I'm sorry, the other people are employees. Think about that. I have been in those programs as well. And I do not want this to sound like a negative podcast by any means, because I absolutely love the coaching world. And I think there's nothing more powerful than somebody fast forwarding your success and somebody helping you make the leaps and not have all the mistakes. But the mistakes that I see are really the industry, and how they decided to scale businesses and how they've decided to do programs. And I feel like, I've been in programs where the person coaching me never owned a business, never marketed anything in her whole life, never really had to sell, didn't have any kind of real world business experience. And yet this person is coaching me on what I'm supposed to be doing in my business. So I would say those kinds of programs, I think those programs are great for scale mode. Like I will tell you, even now, Ray, I buy so many programs. I invest in so many courses and programs, but I do it because if I learn one thing I didn't know, that's more value I can bring to my clients and even to my own business. But it's very rare I'll do somebody's everything.
Yes.
Because the cookie cutter is just, it just doesn't work for everyone, right? But I will
Exactly.
still invest. And but I have a very different attitude about investing in programs. If I were starting out now, I would not go that route. I would hire someone who knew what they were doing, work with them privately, or work with them in a very small group. And that's also why I have the model I have. It's very high touch. It's even my masterminds, I only take 6 per group. They're very streamlined and everyone gets me. And they're high level, and I did that again because I didn't like the industry as a whole.
And that's how you can build and scale with
Yes.
integrity. And we're going to talk more about that. We're going to take a super short commercial break. And when we come back, I want to ask you these questions about how you can scale without getting into that kind of integrity less business model that we've seen play out in the
Great.
industry.
That's singing my song.
Hey, this is Ray. Ready to build a business that supports a life you love, a life you've always dreamed of? It's time to stop passively dealing with what's right in front of you and start deliberately designing your own future. That's exactly what we do in private business mentoring. You and I work together to create a completely custom to you business model that gives you everything you want and need while protecting you from stress and burnout. Ready to get started? Go to chironconsulting.us/mentoring to learn more. There you can also book a free call with me so we can start getting to know each other and see if mentoring is right for you. Plus, I love working with early stage entrepreneurs. That's why my mentoring packages are priced so low. I want you to soar. So don't worry about having to shell out thousands of dollars. Not here. Just go to chironconsulting.us/mentoring to learn more. We are back with Ann Carden. So Ann, you've given us this blueprint of what to look for in a great business coach or consultant. You've said, look for someone with lots of experience. Look for someone who's not going to put you through a cookie cutter program. Those programs have their place, but that's not where you're really going to get that high touch experience. And also look for someone who they haven't just done this once or never done it before. Make sure you're going to work with the person who has all of that experience directly. And so you walk the walk and you talk the talk, like you are living your message. How are you able to scale your business and reach those new level up goals without doing this sort of, I told you before we hit record on this episode, and I'll tell our audience now, the things that drive me nuts about working with a potential new business mentor or coach is I see the ads, I see the landing page, all the messaging sounds great. I book the call. I don't get the coach. I get one of their salespeople. And then if I do decide to get into the program, which normally I don't at that point, but if I did, then I'm working in this like group with a junior coach or something like that. And I'm not actually working with the person that I was buying access to. So how do you scale without having all of these like sales and junior coach minions?
That's such a great question. Well, it is really what my entire business is built around. And that's why I love a premium model. So I teach my clients how to build a premium business. And that means most people start out with low fees, like maybe a few $1,000s or a few $100s or whatever. And then they try to ascend people, the value ladder, the ascension model. I do not teach that model at all. And also, a lot of people talk high ticket. High ticket is typically a few $1,000s. I teach people how to bring in multiple 5 and 6 figure, even multiple 6 figure clients. You don't need very many of those to hit $1 million. You don't need very many of those to hit $500,000. And it's a very streamlined business. You don't need lots of team. It's more profitable. You can put more money in your bank account. The idea, a lot of people are like, I want to impact thousands. Let me just speak on this for a minute. I think that's great, but there are so many ways to impact thousands. I have so much free content that I put out. I have a YouTube channel with 500 videos. I have things that people can opt in. You are impacting people. I have people reach out to me and thank me because they watched a video and it changed their whole business. And I never worked with them. So you can impact thousands without giving up integrity in your business. And I went into working with coaches because I felt like the ripple effect versus working with one small business owner at a time. If I helped coaches and consultants be successful, they could help more businesses. And so that was a way for me to have bigger impact. I do still work with small business clients. I have some that have been with me for years. So, but the thing is, you can do that when you set things up right. But I teach a top-down approach. So you are selling really high. So if you're selling multiple 5 figures or 6-figure deals, everything else becomes a downsell. And you don't even get into courses and all of that. If you ever want to, you may not ever want to, but you don't even need that. In most cases, the way I teach people to build their business, they can do it with high-level masterminds like I'm talking about and one-to-one clients. They can build a $500,000 or $1 million business with just those 2 levels. And excuse me, people say, sorry, I'm having allergies today. People say, well, I want to sell courses. I want passive income. I want all of those things. And so let's talk about scaling for a minute. I have passive income in my business and I don't have a course. And I have passive income because I have JV partnerships. I partner with people that can provide things that my clients will need, but I don't have to do the work. So that is one way to also add revenue streams. You can add revenue streams with your podcast. There are so many ways to add revenue streams besides building a course and doing funnels and, paying for lots and lots of advertising. There are so many more ways. So the way that I teach people is to really build a high level business. Even speaking, going out and speaking, you can do 2 things. You can get paid to speak and you can also attract ideal new clients to your business. So those are ways that I teach people to scale. And the course thing, they may never get to. So that's very different from what most people are doing.
It's extremely different because that's sort of the go-to. Once you accept this idea that, oh, okay, maybe I actually am an expert and maybe I actually do have something that I can offer the world, it's our default to go, and I blame Instagram and Facebook for this, but it's our default to go, oh, I should create a course. But oftentimes what people don't realize is that to create a course, first of all, that takes so much time and energy. Believe me, I've created dozens of them. And then on top of that, you have to go market and you have to do these things that most entrepreneurs, especially creatives, don't like to do, like advertising and click funnels and all of these things that
there is so much to it. Absolutely.
Yes. And it's not one of those, if you build it, they will come sort of things.
No.
And so the opposite of that, what you're describing is go high, aim high, and go for the big fish.
That's right.
So how does someone begin to wrap their mind around this idea of being one person, one consultant, one coach, an individual who has expertise and value to offer to an enormous company that could actually pay that premium level ticket price?
Yes, it really comes down to having the right offer that's relevant to the people you want to go after, having the right positioning in the market. So here's the thing about high level clients and getting those premium fees. You really do have to know what you're doing. That's the first thing, right? You do have to be very experienced and an expert in what you're trying to sell. But then who is it you're trying to go for? And sometimes people don't have to change their market. They just have to level up and go for the top 10% in the market that they're already in to get those really premium fees. But at the end of the day, you still have to be good at what you do. But you have to be positioned well online. So one of the things that I do with my clients is we Google them, in an incognito window, and you can do this for yourself if you know what that is. And it allows you to see yourself the way other people can see you, because your computer will not recognize you when you're in an incognito window. So it shows you the way you show up to everyone else. And I say, if you don't dominate the first couple of pages on Google and you have the same message, people can clearly see what you do. They can clearly see who you are. They can see that there's credibility and authority and expertise, and there's other people singing your praises. All of that's the foundational work that will help you be able to even get your foot in the door to talk to premium clients. So you have to make sure that that positioning, that market positioning, and I'm not talking about branding, but branding is a piece of it. You can't, if you're going to try to get Ferrari prices, you can't look like the cheap used car.
Yes.
And also your offer can't be the cheap used car either. So it's all of these things. It's your packaging, it's knowing who your market is, it's your positioning in the market, your brand, it's how you're getting visible to them. This is the big problem with the industry, is with the cookie cutter programs, is they're selling a strategy. Build a Facebook group, put people in the Facebook group, sell to them. Get on Instagram, do this, right? And that is not, typically that's not always where the high level clients are. And so if you don't really know how to reach them and in the right way, for example, high level clients do not go through funnels. They will not take the time to do any of those things. And if you don't understand that, you're going to be going down the wrong path. So did that answer the question?
All of that and more. Absolutely.
Okay. Perfect.
Absolutely. So what last advice do you have for our listeners who might be thinking, I think it's time for me to get out of the doing and actually get into consulting? Where do they even begin? Does it begin with like an internal mental shift? Does it begin with doing some market research? How do they even get started?
Well, you can definitely book a call with me and I'll help you get started. But here's the thing. Here's one thing that I just want to throw out there. So any entrepreneurs that are listening, you mentioned it, Ray, you've built a lot of courses. So the fact that you've done that, you would be ready to coach. You would be ready to consult other people if you've had success. One of the things that and talking about those premium clients, one of the things that I do with people is help them take all the experience and everything, obviously, and become a coach. And so you have to make that mental shift. It doesn't mean you have to give up what you're doing. It just means it can be you can do it as another revenue stream in your business, another income stream, or it could slowly become your main thing where you start stepping out of the doing and you start teaching other people. See, there are really different levels in a business. The first one is to be an employee, right? The second one is to start a business and do the thing, and learn it, do it. And then I always say, teach it. And when you teach it, that's where you're going to get the biggest fees. That's where you're going to make the biggest impact. But you can take all those courses and everything that you've done, and you can put those together into one premium offer that you can now teach to other people. And so looking at some things like that you've already done, and how you can make those shifts. But yes, obviously you have to want to do that. If you don't love teaching people, for me, it's in my nature. I've always been a teacher in some degree. I've been coaching for years and years. Even in a lot of my businesses, I coached thousands of people. So you have to want to do that and you have to love doing that. But you can also, as a consultant, you can also be a strategic partner. You don't have to be a coach. You can be a strategic consultant, and you can go in and you can teach teams, or you can teach people inside organizations, but you don't necessarily have to coach them. So there's a lot of different ways you can go. It's not one way.
And I think you just touched on another question that I had, which is, what about those people who are very introverted? They've been out of the spotlight. And if they Google themselves in incognito mode, they find their Facebook profile and their LinkedIn profile, and that's it. How do they, who maybe don't like to be on the stage and do speaking events and things like that, but do have a lot of expertise that they can offer the world, what's the best path for those individuals?
I would say the best path for them would be to find partnerships,
Mm.
to find people that they can partner with where that person does not do the same thing. For example, someone who works with corporations and they go in and they do one type of coaching or training, and then they can bring that other person in and that can become part of their team. They can become part of a team,
Mm.
but they can still get paid for their services. So that, but I'm not talking about necessarily subcontracting. We're talking about two different things. Subcontracting is you're an extra pair of hands, you're paid like an employee, you're often paid hourly. When you are a consultant and you partner with someone, you establish the boundaries for that. So these are my fees, this is what I charge. And then you find that person that can kind of bring you alongside of them, because your businesses complement each other and they're both things that the organization would need. So that's really going to be the best path. But I'm just going to say this, it's hard to build a business if you are not willing to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Because you have to still sell. You
Yes.
have to, entrepreneurship is not for everyone, Ray. And that's probably one of the best things I can say today is everyone's not cut out to be an entrepreneur. So you have to really think long and hard. Are you willing to be the face of your brand? Because in some capacity, you have to be. I mean, how are you even going to get people to want to partner with you if you're not even willing to put yourself out there? So it's difficult. We are in a very different world today. In the
Yeah.
old days, you could just run ads and then people will come in and you didn't really ever have to show your face, right? But that's not the world we're in today. So
Right. And if you're going to get paid as an expert, people are going to be buying your brain,
right.
your experience, your background. So you have to be comfortable being you out in the world. And you've given us some amazing examples of different ways that these business models can work in integrity without feeling icky or, doing any sort of bait and switch sort of tactics that we see happen all the time in the coaching industry. So I absolutely love that you were bringing that sense of integrity and honesty back into the coaching world. And if someone wants to learn more about you, check you out, or book a call with you, where can they find you online?
Yes, you can book a strategy call with me at acarden.com. I always have a workshop or a program coming up, and you can go to expertinyouworkshop.com, see what my next workshop is, see if it's a fit. I will say my workshops are free, but there is an application process. Because we want to make sure that the people that are in the room are in the place in their business to apply the things that I teach and that I talk about. But that, and I also have, you can go to expertinyou.marketing, and that shows you, and you'll see a lot of testimonials. That shows you where you can book a call where I can help people get premium clients in 7 to 60 days if they're already
Amazing.
established and they already have things going on. So
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Anne. This was a much needed conversation that I think a lot of people need to hear.
Ray, thank you. It was my pleasure and honor.
Hey, Ray here again. Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, please subscribe and rate us in your favorite podcasting platform. Want to be a guest on the show or know someone who has an amazing story of entrepreneurship? Apply on our website at chironconsulting.us/podcast.